You are about to listen to the Neverdaily podcast.
This is the biggest thing since the Zapruder film.
So many questions.
I don't have any answers.
But please don't stop listening
To the Neverdaily podcast.
Welcome to the Neverdaily podcast, where every episode brings you closer to two men and further away from logic.
That was the worst opening you've ever done.
Here's something interesting. I don't know if you noticed this. I just posted very benignly a simple graphic that indicated that maybe there was a certain cross section of our listenership that doesn't like the cowboy poet. And I got to say, the response, the resounding response from people saying that they actually did like it.
Where did you post that at?
On Fache Book. I believe it's called.
Yeah, but what group?
Neverdaily.
Okay,
Neverdaily.
Let's take a look at this.
It was a kind of a cell cartoon, where it was like it's a weathered man, and the next frame he's holding a paper, and it says, I can't remember what I put on it. It's like, nobody likes the cowboy poet thing. And then the next frame he's crumpling it up in his hand, and then the next frame he's throwing it on the ground. And then there were a lot of people that were like, I actually like it. And then there were a lot of people who were, I don't know the word, maybe super mean. Nah, nobody was mean.
Well, I think that the people that said they do like it are lying.
Scared of me.
No, they're lying.
Hey, well, here's the thing. Have you noticed this? Like, my pettiness knows no bounds, and
It
so
does not. You were right about that. You were
right. And so
Yeah.
people will be like, well, my opinion on this, and then I'll come back like, "Rah!" And I think people are scared now. They're just scared to, like, there's
you're like a dictator.
Yeah.
Emphasis
Weird.
on the dick.
But then there's people that, like, post things because they know by trolling that like they get really, like, hot, thinking that they're going to get a response because they're posting something kind of edgy.
Chase said 3 people doesn't mean resounding support.
Chase, you know what? You're walking to Orlando. Hey, so I guess what I'm saying is that it's not it's not completely out of the realm of possibilities that we may hear from the cowboy poet again at some point. I don't know. Just, it's where the wind and my heart takes me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, people seem to hate it, so let's do it again.
I'm thinking something like around that line of logic. Here's the thing. Raise your hand if you're excited about CrimeCon. Chase, you guys are? You really are?
Yeah.
I'm excited about seeing our people. Like our
Okay,
1159
I'm not
family.
excited about CrimeCon. No.
So here's the thing, and I didn't know this until afterward, but I feel bad. Like, we bought a booth and everything, and then come to find out that they require, like, your firstborn in order to pay for the tickets. If you're just a person going to the convention.
Yes, you have to make a blood sacrifice.
And so, as a podcaster, I've come to the conclusion that CrimeCon is not for podcasters like us. It feels very corporate, like MSNBC brings all of their highly produced podcasts since they figured out that regular shows don't pay the bills anymore. and they're bringing them all to CrimeCon. CrimeCon, it just feels very because
you know what it feels like?
What?
I feel like when you see us at CrimeCon, the way it's gonna look to people there that don't know us is like, you ever seen those big corporate meeting tables that are like $20,000 tables in a high rise with the glass windows? Everybody's in suits and pantsuits.
Yep.
And if you have the camera panning, right, it's like suits. Oh yeah, there's Generation Y or whatever, and True Crime Garage, and there's CNN and Podcast by Wondery and Investigative Podcast. And then randomly sitting at a table is Bozo the Clown, and then suits, pantsuits. There's
like
some guy sitting there with a red nose on and face paint. And that's 11:59 Media.
It's
at
true.
CrimeCon.
We're like the I think you should leave portion of the table. It just
yes.
And I didn't understand that when I signed up, because we had a lot of people that were just like, "Hey, are you guys going to be at CrimeCon?" And I never bothered to follow up saying, "I don't know. Have you ever been?" Because I don't know how we fit. Here's where my heartache is a bit, is because tickets are cost prohibitive for the most part. I mean, people will find a way. If they want to go, they want to go. But here's the thing is, it's not like a super cool meetup for our people, because it's so expensive. You know, a handful of our listeners are going to be there. A handful of our listeners are going to be there. So our booth can't really be like something that's really fan centric, because it'll only appeal to like 23 people.
That's
right.
Why, because it's our booth, we can do whatever we want. They can't tell us what to do.
Right.
We should, just for shits and gigs, considering the seriousness of the environment there, make our booth like a yard sale booth and just bring stuff from our house and sell it that we don't.
I totally
just like an old microwave. I'll bring a couple weed eaters, some VHS tapes of like Speed 2, and
this would be brilliant. And then everything, we just silver Sharpie marker, and everything is signed, and the table is just full of flea market. It's just,
it's what a flea market table in the middle of CrimeCon. Yeah,
I'm telling you what. So right, I'm leaning heavily. I'm leaning heavily toward what you're saying, because our some of our fans will be there, but investing like we have in the booth and then making it fan centric isn't. At one point I was like, oh, you know what? We'll do like this 80s theme where everybody sits, we'll have like a photo booth where you can sit with us and get your stupid 80s. We'll have a bin of 80s clothes and everybody puts them on and we take pictures, and it's funny, and we print them out and you get them. But I was like, all of that work for like, I don't know how many, a handful of listeners of the show that'll be there. So A, fans are going to struggle to get there. B, it's a true crime. It's a true crime convention, which largely means podcasts, right? So B, our table is not going to be like wooing new listeners, because you have to listen to the stinking shows to become a fan. So it's not like they're going to be milling. It's not like we're going to have like, a bunch of Apple headphone pros all over the table and people just milling about listening to our shows.
Right.
Not going to happen.
Fortunately, you'll have all those drives, those little thumb drives that you bring.
I'm not doing the thumb drive.
What? That's not going to happen?
Are you surprised? So A and B, those both make things an issue. So what we C, Bex had a genius idea. She was like, all of your shows are sort of, she didn't say retarded. She wouldn't say that, but she was like, what show isn't, and lines up with kind of the brand of the convention, is almost fiction. And I was like, holy cow, you're right, because it's well researched. It's no offense to you or me, it's clean, well produced. So it's all the things so we will make Almost Fiction. There'll be a presence for Almost Fiction. I'm thinking what it'll be is like the table's like, I think that for like the $3 billion we spent, we get a 8-inch by 8-inch table. And so we'll have the Almost Fiction branding stuff on there, and then our flea market.
And only sell Shopkins on it.
Yeah. With Pogs if you stack them all in one stack.
Yeah.
So Almost Fiction will be kind of the thing that we bring so that everybody that doesn't know about us can hear something that we do. Naturally, we're going to be there. So people will be like, oh, also there's these guys, whatever those guys do for the show. But I do like the flea. I was actually thinking something along the lines of the booth being just sort of ridiculous. Like, here's another pain point is I was like, okay, so we need to have some merch, that people could buy or whatever. And this gets me into where conventions are an absolute racket. Get this. So I can't remember. Do you remember what we spent? What did we spend on the booth? It was like $1,700 or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Come to find out, and I should have known this, I guess, but $1,700 gets you a table and like a space for that table to live, and then 2 chairs. Yep. And then they start sending you emails. They're like, hey, convention's right around the corner. Make sure you order your power. And I was like, man, really? So what they do is they portion out the power. You don't have a plug anywhere, right? So they say what they do is they have to drop a cable from the ceiling to like your exhibitor hall stretch where your beers are. And then they run a power cord along the back of the booths. And then if you want power, they'll stem off a plug-in for you. But get this. I don't even know what era this would fit in where people did this in the past, but they're like, so starting, if you want 5 watts of energy, 5 watts, basically to charge a cell phone, $217 a day. All right. So like they're just bilking you, right? So $217 for a power plug-in, just like this, a plug-in.
This is after paying $1,700 for a table.
Yep. Because what they know is that they're like, see, again, like it blows my mind because people pay so much money to get in, and then people pay so much money to present there. And we're like the lowest level of stuff. Like we're a booth. Like if we wanted to be on a panel or a speaker or a breakout session or something, I can't even mention the numbers that it costs. Okay. So power, right?
Deanna and then in the comment section said, bring a mini generator. And I'll take that a step further. I think it would be funny to bring a full-size generator. Just,
and we won't even get a Honda. We'll get like one of those champions that are just like so loud. Okay. So enter in why it's good to be the insufferable gearhead that I've been. So I have it comes with 2 giant solar panels that are like as tall as me, but it's a digital generator. And it's the size, it's like 2 lunch boxes taped together kind of size, but it's got enough power to run all of our stuff at our booth. So we'll just tuck it under the table. And then at night we plug it in the hotel room. Anyway, so that's solved because I'm mad about the fact that they're going to try to charge. The other one is this.
It's just unfortunate that you're going to forget to bring it.
Right? I'll have to buy another one down there. This is probably super boring for people, but just so you know, like what an exhibitor goes through just to exist at a convention. This is nothing. I mean, we haven't even talked about anything we're bringing or putting on the table or anything. The other one is Wi-Fi. They break down their Wi-Fi like this. They're like, if you want the password basically and the Wi-Fi like icon to show up on your phone, and it may or may not work really well, it's $20 a day per device. If you want like internet that might, actually work and stuff, it's $50 a day per device. And I'm like, holy crap. So I emailed them. I'm like, how's the cell phone coverage in there? Is it could we just rely on that? And they're like, well, I don't know. I don't know is what they say. And I'm like, you do know. You do. Because you're the convention center. You know this. But they're like, I don't know.
They probably
buddy."
actually put signal interrupting panels in the ceiling so that
I
they
would
can
imagine.
charge these ridiculous prices to fuck you over.
This is for a topic on another day.
America, America, gosh, on me.
So let me ask you. So, Jess, you have kids in school. Kent, you have kids in school. I had kids in school.
Yeah.
So this is a little side journey, really quick. Every school my kids went to, when I crossed the barrier into the school, the cell phone coverage just went to nothing. Have you experienced this same thing?
Yes.
There has to be jamming going on. There's no two ways about it. You could be in the back of a Walmart and still have cell phone coverage. You could be, they have to. And then why aren't we asking questions about that? Because how do you get a call out in an active shooter situation? How do you do that?
Got to pay $20.
I guess. But the active shooter has a deal. He'll give you cell phone access for $5. So, But anyway, I guess what I'm
That's
saying
capitalism,
is,
baby.
how are we
The
getting
active
around
shooter
all this?
controls the internets. Supply and demand. He creates the demand and then provides the supply.
Yep. And then when I could go on, but I'm not going to. So how are we getting around this? Well, what we're going to do is we'll be at the convention. Obviously, we're going to have a silly time at the table. It'll be hopefully memorable for fans, listeners to the shows, and newcomers alike. And then we have actually nailed down a venue for, I believe it's Friday night and Saturday night. Same venue. The first night is a live thing that we're going to do. And have we talked about it or prepared it all? No. But it's going to be, I'm thinking probably best to do like a live Neverdaily, because that's,
I think it's going to be more like a BS session.
Yeah, it probably will.
Just
I feel like it'll be like our dark meets, something like that, where we bring something and then, it goes somewhere else and then it ends up burning down slowly. So that's Friday night, and we're actually selling tickets to that. Why are we doing that? Because we actually think anybody's going to pay ticket price to come and hear us do a live show. I don't really know, except for I'm haunted by the comments that I've heard from the people that are in charge of me, both in my personal life and professional life, that say this has to at least break even. You can't just spend a bunch of money and not have it make sense. So we're selling tickets.
I don't know. We definitely did well with our Colorado trip.
I'm still paying that off.
Well,
and that episode will be out. The video episode of the Colorado trip from 9 years ago should be out. Was it next week?
Yeah, next second coming. That's when it's coming out.
I would like to say the empathy in the comment section here, the back door said that Dollar General is the same way, no cell phone coverage inside. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, empathy, but the reason Dollar General doesn't have cell phone coverage inside isn't because they have blocking panels in the ceiling. It's because every place the Dollar General is built by nature does not have cell phone service. You don't see Dollar Generals in the middle of Chicago.
It's like a franchise requirement. They have to check that box before they break ground.
Yeah.
Jess, you were about to say
this place is robbed. Will they be able to get a call out? No. Build it.
What'd you say, Jess?
I was going to say, thought the idea was that the live show would be like a had to be there event. It's not going to be recorded or
right.
It's just for the people that attend the live show.
Yep, it's a had to be there event. And okay, so to solve the merch, I'm chock full of merch ideas, merch designs to bring to the show. We'll have smaller fare that I can fit in my luggage on the table, but we'll also have samples of some merch stuff there. If you're there, you can buy it, and we'll have the samples so you can buy it online, and then it gets sent to you, and it'll be at a steep discount because you're there. We'll have that at the live event too. And then the second night is a meetup. We did that strategically because I thought, if we do the ticket event the second night, everybody that comes to the meetup the first night will be like, yeah, that wasn't worth it. So we're trying to deceive people into, paying the bills. Anyway.
Not even paying bills.
Get ready for CrimeCon.
Deficit.
Yeah. Oh boy. Anyway.
Let's just be honest. We're just going to be fucking around the whole weekend.
We are. Oh, the Momperator?
There in flip-flops and a cut-off Dolly Parton t-shirt and a backwards hat next to some asshole that works for ID channel in a suit talking to JonBenet Ramsey.
So if you have, I'm putting it out to the people on this one. If you've been to a convention and you've seen a hilarious idea that somebody has done at a booth, throw it in the comments or email us at help@1159media.com, because I'm still interested in what to do. Like, there was an SNL skit one time where Eddie Murphy was trying to buy barbecued ribs. And he's like, I want to buy some ribs. And the guy's like, they're this much. He's like, what? How much for one rib? And I'm kind of doing the how much for one rib thing, as far as like, what could we how could we do this on like a McDonald's food stamps budget and be funny? I want it to be worth it for people, but I don't want to give my money to the convention, if that makes sense. I don't want to pay exorbitant fees for, in a power strip and, things that nobody can appreciate. So I'm trying to figure that out.
And on budgeting, my wife was doing our budgeting at the beginning of this month, and she's like, how much do you think you'll need for CrimeCon? And I was like, I don't, $11?
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy any. What am I fucking going to buy? Like,
yeah,
when I go to a horror house, I'm like, I need like $800 because I'm going to buy a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
There's stuff there that what am I going to buy at like artwork by John Wayne Gacy? Like, what am I going to buy at CrimeCon? I even know what
body chills hoodie. Yeah. I have no expectations. I have low expectations. Also, we, believe it or not, we actually have people at the helm of planning our CrimeCon. And right now they're probably like, go to hell, operator, because they've been trying very hard to put this together. Bex and Tracy, and I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that we've got added to there. Bex, Tracy, Jess is in there. I think Jess isn't in there. Chase, are you in that little planning group? Maybe. Anyway, I just keep forwarding the emails that I get and saying, let me know if there's anything I need to know about. And so I'm disappointing them, but it's going to be so much fun, guys. Let's go.
I'm sorry that I'm useless in that aspect.
Which aspect?
I always literally just being planning. Like, I always just show up and then go and wait for somebody to point where I need to do what I need to do.
No,
I'm like, I'll be there. Then I wait for somebody to point. They're like, you can't over there. And I go, okay.
Yeah.
And
it's fine. It's fine because I have a weakness, which is if there's a mundane task, I really have a hard time handing it off to anybody. I just, especially if like it's not in their job description. I think that's one of the entrepreneurial hat things where it's like, well, I haven't really specified anybody particular that should do this, so I'll just do it. And, it's hard on me, guys. It's hard on me. Just kidding. But no, the Mom Parader will be there. Kent will be there. Chase will be there. Tracy's going to be there. Bex is coming from France. Freaking France. And, you know what? I'm going to hold off on the travails of Bex until we're like there. I think that'll be fun. We'll do a little thing and dig into Beck's life a little more, because holy cow, you guys met her. Like, what a woman, right? Like, what? Her life is amazing. So I'm excited to talk about Bex a little more as time approaches.
She's a snowboarder.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys all saw it, but if you've never been on I think I did it on the 911 Calls podcast Facebook group, but posted a picture. I don't know. What was she? It was a 30-foot cliff, maybe?
Well, she moved to France for snowboarding, didn't she?
Yeah. She was in England, and she has an English accent. And she's like, well, the skiing and snowboarding in England.
To snowboard on all this rain.
Flat terrain. So she moved. She's in the corner of France. And she's in the corner of France where she's like got the Swiss Alps, 8 minutes from her. She's in the corner. So she's like surrounded by all these other countries. And so, one night she'll be at a concert in whatever other countries right there, because I'm really good at geography.
The next night she's on her knees in a desert. Some guy on the knife and a balaclava.
I'm going to put it back. She's got quite the adventurous life. Also, just a little. No, never mind. I really am excited about what Bex is doing, but I'll hold off on talking about that. So one more thing before I'll get off that topic of CrimeCon and everything. We're compressing our recording this week because Jess is going out of town. End of this week, Thursday, Friday. So we're packing in a bunch of recording today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And I thought that would be the main reason, but also, and I tried to get Jess to get me out of this kind of, but last night I was at a little nacho fest with my friends, Adam the cop, who's my best friend and hunting companion and everything.
Whatever. I guess.
He could show up here at any moment and arrest me. I have to say best friend, okay? So Adam and my other buddy Paul, they were like, hey, look at your calendar. And I looked at my calendar and they said, what's this week? I was like, what? And like, you deleted it from your calendar, didn't you? I'm like, what is it? And they said, it's our hunting trip. It's this week. And I'm like, no, I can't go. And they're like, buddy, you gotta go. You gotta go with us. And I turned to my wife and I'm like, you don't want me to go, right? And she's like, I want you to do what makes you happy. And I'm like,
oh, you know what? Oh, that, ooh, baby.
You can see it in her eyes.
Staying right there.
But what was neck and neck was the fact that, one, A, she doesn't want me to go. But B, neck and neck with that was reveling in seeing the heat from the peer pressure I was under. And so she was willing to relinquish her desire for me to not go to see this play out. And so she was not helping me at all. She was like, I think you should go. I think you should go. I think you'd be good. You need to get out of the studio. You need to go.
Oh, you're so bad at reading between the lines.
I know. So I thought, okay, well, I'll shift into, ultra no two ways about it gear. I'm going to get somebody that objectively knows I shouldn't go. So I'm sitting there next to Adam, and Adam listens to the show. Hi, Adam. And he goes, you know what? Text Jess. Ask Jess if she thinks you should go. And I was like, oh, you know what, Adam? That's a good idea, because if I ask Jess, I know what she's going to say, because she she has the next 18 years scheduled out for me in recording. I was like, let's see how this goes, Adam. So I text Jess and I'm like, oh, so I just found out I'm apparently supposed to be hunting this weekend from Thursday on. And what are your thoughts on that? And Jess says, you should go.
What?
I'm so mad at everybody. She said I should go. She didn't even blink twice. I even sent her a gift that said, I'm under duress, send help. And she just was like, seriously, that you should go.
So you're going hunting?
Yeah, I guess Thursday.
That's a good time.
Here's the thing. I've never killed a thing in my life.
Don't have anything going on.
I've never killed an animal hunting. And I don't think
You've never killed an animal?
Since I've been like legit hunting license, fully trained and everything, I've gone out 6 seasons.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
I know, but at the same time, if you think about it, it's sort of on brand, right?
You need to get at least go squirrel hunting or something. Get something to eat. For God's sakes, man, you got to bring something home for your family.
So if anyone's wondering, well, why in the world did you go in the first place? My philosophy for going hunting is I want that skill. I want the skill to be able to support my family when and if. And hopefully when and if never happens. But it's the same reason that if you ask concealed carry carriers why they carry a weapon, it's not because they're excited about shooting somebody. They're just like, when and if. And hopefully when my hope with concealed carry and with hunting is that I would never have to be in a situation where it was the only option. But at the same time, if I can fill my freezer with meat that I would have bought at a grocery store that's chock full of who knows what, and it's also $5 a pound, and I can go out and, have the skill to do that. It is not an easy skill. Hence the reason I've gone 6 seasons and never got an animal. Elk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's like taking down a horse.
A dinosaur. Yeah.
Yeah. They're frightening. Oh, they're frightening up close. The guttural bark that an elk has when it's doing its call it sends chills up your spine.
Velociraptor in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, it's very close. There's probably, I would say there's 7 octaves in its range when it does an elk call. Just when you're up against one, right in on one, it sends chills down your spine. So anyway, I told my buddies, I was like, okay, well, this is like every single time you guys are like mountain men, and then I just like get up from the laptop and go hunting in the mountains. I'm like, don't expect much, maybe a joke. And bring your suture kit, because the wilderness has it out for me. Every time I go, I end up hemorrhaging. So I've been talking so much.
I had an exciting day yesterday, Sunday.
Please tell us about it.
Well, I was up in my office.
I love this story already. I know it and I love it.
Writing TCK. And I thought, I'm going to have a productive day. Got to finish up this TCK episode. And then something happened. That happens a lot as a parent of 2 little girls. The world started to end. My wife is freaking out. My daughters are freaking out. I'm like, what is going on? They're like, Lily is missing. We can't find Lily. And that's our indoor cat. The one that I saved a few years ago, the dumpster cat. And we got her and she was all mangy and skinny and looking like the Toxic Avenger. And then we got her cleaned up and back to health. And now she's a big, fat, spoiled indoor cat. And she's pretty much given up her life outdoors. But for whatever reason, somehow, yesterday, She snuck out. We don't know how she got out. Or not yesterday, it was the day before yesterday. So she had been gone all night. And then that morning when my wife went to open her. Because when we open her, she's spoiled. She won't eat food that comes out of a bag. Everything that Lily eats has to come in a can.
Oh, it's got to be moist.
It's got to be moist. She's very dainty. She's really forgotten about her. She really forgot about where she came from, I think. And I mean, that's a conversation for another day, but it's like, I think you should always remember where you came from. It's very important to stay grounded. She has not done that. But the call for Lily is the crack of the can, and then that, when you peel that's like a call for Lily. She comes running. She could be in the attic, and we can open a can in the basement in this recording booth with the doors shut, and she'd come running from the attic. She knows that noise, and she didn't come. And then obviously my 8-year-old Mo just starts crying because Lily is her cat. Mo is Lily's person. Lily sleeps with her and everything, and like that's who Lily has claimed as her person, because you don't own a cat. A cat owns you.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that. The cat allows you to let it live there.
Yes.
And then it picks a person, and that's the person that it attaches itself to, and Lily attached to Mo. So Mo's freaking out. She's like, my wife's freaking out. Where's the cat? I don't know where the cat is. I'll tell you what. I'm a dad. I'll do what the dad do. I put on a hat. I'll go drive around the neighborhood. That's what you do as a dad when you lose an animal, and go drive around the neighborhood. That's what they do in the movies.
Yeah.
So fuck it. I'll just go drive around the neighborhood, and maybe I'll come across her. I go out into the car. I start the engine on our SUV, and I think to myself, and I'm so glad I had this thought. Before I pull out of here, I better check the engine bay. Because cats are notorious for climbing up in engine bays and getting on top of the intake manifold, and especially
warm.
Because it's warm, and also she's scared. She's outside. She's an indoor cat. This place is huge. And the last time she had to live this lifestyle many, 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 many years ago, she remembered eating rats and probably getting raped by stray mangy cats that were males. So it's like, oh no, all these memories are flooding back. I better find some place to hide. So I pop the hood. I go around. I open the hood. Sure enough, there's Lily sitting on top of the intake manifold, but where she's been out here all night surviving in the wild. In her head, this is the fucking Amazon rainforest, right? There's alligators and dinosaurs and just people with knives for dicks, like roaming the streets. And when I pop the hood, she doesn't even bother to see that it's me. She just sees the hood pop and jumps off the intake manifold and runs. And when she runs, Bruno, who is in the backyard, starts freaking out and chasing her along the fence line. And she's freaking out, and Bruno's freaking out. And she does what a cat does. And she sees a tree. She goes straight up that goddamn tree. Even though first time she's seen a tree in 4 years. But they just know,
and she knows Bruno very well too, so it's not like this is frightening.
Yeah, her and Bruno are like arch nemesis. They're like enemies. Lily owns the upstairs of the house, and Bruno owns downstairs. Lily stays upstairs. Bruno won't use the steps. In his head, and I don't know why, and I'm so glad it's like this, the steps are like impossible for dogs. Like those are anti-dog, so he can't go up to the second story of the house. So Lily stays on the second story, Bruno stays on the first story. Anyways, Lily goes up the tree, and she just really is a dumbass, I guess, because we're standing at the tree like, hey, come here, baby. Lily, baby. It's okay, baby. Lily. Lily.
You need to do that as long, because you did that a long time yesterday.
Lily. It's okay. Oh. So we did that. We brought Bruno inside. This tree that she went up is right on the fence row between my house and my neighbor's house. It like literally grows right beside the fence. So we had to bring Bruno inside the house. My wife is standing in our yard. I'm standing in my neighbor's backyard, and we're trying to get Lily down. Lily.
Yeah.
So that worked. We tried that for maybe 2 hours, which is really stupid now that I think about it. Just standing at the base of a tree, looking up and going, Lily, Lily, kitty, kitty. Because she didn't give a fuck. All she was doing, this was Lily the whole time. Meow.
Was she so high that you don't think she could have gotten down?
She was probably about 3 stories high.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She's probably like 50 foot. So, and she's never been more than 4 feet off the ground. So that's like really exciting for her. And the thing about cats that people don't know, and actually I made a post about this. One of our listeners pointed it out yesterday. They have a really easy time getting up a tree, hard time getting down because the way that their claws are designed. And an indoor cat that's never been in a tree, this is like, oh, she might die out there. She'll starve to death before she comes down, especially considering how scared she is.
You have the peer pressure of your sweet daughters.
My 8-year-old, she's crying. She's terrified.
Yeah.
Lily's gonna die.
Yeah.
Maybe she's not gonna die. And I was like, and then I got down on my knees and I grabbed her by her shoulders and I said, look at me. I promise you that I will get your cat back in the house safely. I promise. If I have to, and I meant this, if I have to go and saw 2x4s in 2-foot sections and build a ladder one by one up the side of this tree like I'm building the fucking tree house, I will get your cat out of this tree and it will be fine. If that's what I have to do, I will do it. I promise you. So she calmed down a little bit, and then we spent probably an hour after that just, Lily. We tried the tuna trick, set tuna at the bottom of the tree because she hadn't ate since the night before. Finally, after the entire thing probably commenced about 1:30, I would guess. By 4, I was like, okay, this is serious. So we set up a campsite at the base of the tree on our property. I have a big awning, a retractable awning that we got at Sam's Club, and it's like 15 foot by 15 foot long and probably 10 foot tall. I set that up so that we could be out of the sun. We put chairs at the base of the tree, brought drinks and a book and tablets out, and camped out at the base of this tree. And occasionally we would stop and look up and go, Lily. And she never came down. She just meowed from the top of the tree. And I don't know what she was saying, but if I could speak cat, it was probably like, wow, this is high. Didn't really think this through. Hey guys, she was probably actually in cat talk going, hey guys, I can't get down. Could you guys come up? Can't. Come up here and get me. If she had like a cheeseburger, she would have set it out on the branch, trying to get me to come up to get her. And finally, I was like, okay, looked up. Who do you call to get a cat out of a tree? Turns out the fire department doesn't do it anymore. You have to call an arborist. And if you're wondering how much it costs for an arborist to come out on a Sunday and make an emergency call to get a cat out of a tree, it is $100.
Oh, wow.
He came out. He was great, though. He had a bucket truck, got up in the tree, and got Lily out. And she is, when I came down here to record, she was sleeping soundly on the couch.
Hopefully she'll never, like, I don't know if they learn. I don't know if that's one of those kind of things where, you know, they will avoid that next time. You have some tall trees too, so that's... I kind of want to blame Bruno for this whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think she got out because I also got a new. Oh, I'm excited for this. Got a new aquarium for the adult axolotls.
Oh, you did?
It's a massive aquarium. It's probably, I don't know, 6 foot long by 3 foot wide, and it's only 10 inches tall. So it's like all base. You know what I mean?
Yeah, kind of like my attitude, right? I am so base. Anyway,
so I think you meant based.
Oh, is that the word?
Old fuck.
I don't know things.
Darn
it.
And because axolotls, they don't use the top portion of the water anyway. If all the water is base, that's just like an axolotl heaven. And it was just so big, this tank is, though, that it wouldn't fit in any room upstairs. So now it's taken up most of my basement. And now the axolotl haven is in the basement, which is ideal, actually, because it stays cooler in the basement and there's no sunlight down here. So they're just living their axolotl dreams. And this in my basement that is now an aquarium. We could actually maybe charge tickets to come down here.
Okay, so with the investment, are you kind of saying that, like, are you still offering them to people, or is this investment because you're gonna hold on to them now?
These are for the adults. The babies are still upstairs in the office.
Oh yeah, okay. So you got a whole slave ship operation.
Yeah, but this axolotl tank is like, imagine like a person's toy train station set up in their basement, right?
Yeah.
And that's like the way it's 360 degrees. You can walk all the way around it. I had to build a special bracket and table for it because the tank is so big. And I built it at like crotch level for adults because I wanted the girls to be able to watch them and see them and interact with them and everything too. And it's just really cool. I'll have to take pictures and videos of it. But so that's what's been going on.
Wow.
You ready to move on?
Yeah. What did you bring today?
Last night I watched Dawn of the Dead while I was writing, because I always have background noise going on in the office while I'm writing and researching. And Dawn of the Dead was what I chose. And this morning, when I was picking something to talk about, I wanted to find a case of a real life zombie.
Oh.
And probably the most popular case of a real life zombie is the case of a man in Haiti named Clairvius Narcissa.
Yeah.
You know this case?
Yeah. Well, there's a movie about it, but I'll let you do the thing, because I am so intrigued by this whole thing.
Yeah, on April 30th, 1962, the year of the Lord, Clairvius Narcissi admitted himself to the Schweitzer Hospital in Des Chapelles, Haiti. Now, the Schweitzer Hospital, you're probably thinking that's definitely a German hospital. That's a Nazi hospital. It was actually operated by American medical staff. The Schweitzer.
Sounds welcoming.
In Haiti. Now, whenever Clairvius admitted himself there, he said, "Hey, I've got a fever. I'm sluggish. I feel tired. I'm sleepy. I feel like shit. And by the way, I'm spitting up blood." So the doctors there at the Schweitzer Hospital, American doctors, no matter how hard they looked, they couldn't find any reason or explanation for the symptoms he was experiencing. And after 3 days, over a period of 3 days, those symptoms not only didn't get better, they got worse. And on the third day, Clairvius Narcisse fucking died.
Wow.
Dead. He was pronounced dead and then held in cold storage for about a day before his funeral.
Are you gonna do that every time you see that my video screen says app is not focused? Because I'm like
that's
on
my
another
new call
website.
to you. Every time I know that you're not paying attention, I'm trying to get you out of that tree.
That's awesome.
Come here. I'm going to get a new iPhone that I won't even use because I like my phone, but I'll just wave it. That'll be your tuna. Come back here.
Oh, man.
So Clairvius is dead. He's thrown in cold storage. And then the next day, he's buried. Now, let's fast forward. Like I said, this happened in 1962. Fast forward to 1980, 18 years later. Angelina Narcisse, who was Clairvius' sister, is in the city of Les Esters in Haiti, shopping. She's just hanging out. Her brother's been dead 18 years. She's shopping in Les Esters. When a man walked up to her and said, "Hey, I'm Clairvius Narcisse, your brother." Now, he looked like her brother, but her brother's been dead 18 years at this point. Looked like her brother, sounded like her brother, just looked like an older version of her brother. And she didn't believe him, though. She was obviously in shock at this. But then he used a childhood nickname that only the family called him and shared some intimate family information that only Clairvius could have known, and she was convinced. Obviously, this is weird. He's been dead 18 years at this point. He was even buried. And then he walks up to her randomly while she's shopping, his sister, and says, "Hey, it's me." When she asked him what had happened, he claimed that he had actually been conscious during his supposed death and burial, but he was paralyzed. He couldn't tell anybody that he was awake and conscious. He said that he was buried, and a few hours after his burial, somebody came in the night and removed him from his grave and then forced him to work on a sugar plantation. According to him,
I'm right here with you the whole time. Sugar plantation.
Because it says app is not focused. I want to change that. I want to do a change where it doesn't say app is not focused. It says op is not focused. Now, he says that on May 2nd, 1962, when they exhumed his coffin and pulled him out of his coffin, he was given a paste that was made from datura. And datura at certain doses has an hallucinogenic effect that can cause memory loss. He said this was given to him by a Haitian bokor, and bokor is Haitian for like a witch, a wizard, voodoo priest, right? A bokor. He says the bokor who recovered him forced him alongside a bunch of others to work on a sugar plantation until the master of that sugar plantation, died 2 years later. Now, when the bokor died 16 years later, he stopped giving Clairvius the regular doses of the drug that he was using to keep him under his zombie-like trance. And when the bokor died, he stopped getting the doses and regained complete consciousness and sanity. And that's when he kind of stumbled back home after 16 years, after 18 years total, but 16 years, because he went on the sugar plantation, worked on the sugar plantation. The master of the sugar plantation died 2 years after he got there. And then for 16 years, the Bokor kind of had control. He was the Bokor slave. So after
almost like a fugue state in a way. If there was like a middle ground where you're in a fugue state, also you're a slave,
Exactly. So basically for 18 years, Clairvius Narcisse was in that half asleep, half awake state. Remember when, how like when you can hear people, but you're not asleep, but you're actually not, he's like that, only he's working full time. That's what this drug kind of did. It just turns you into a mindless worker. So he stumbles into this village and by pure luck comes across his sister. Narcisse was pretty quickly recognized by villagers, and his family freaked him the fuck out. Rightfully so. And then he tells the villagers how he was dug.
I'm here. I'm right here. Somebody came in my back door.
Miss College. He was so the villagers, they're surprised. He says, "Hey, I was dug up and enslaved," but people pretty quickly accepted this story, and he was considered a man who was once a zombie.
Yeah.
Now, if you're wondering why somebody did this to him, it's because as a young buck, before he was put in this trance, Narcisse had broken one of the traditional behavior codes in that region by abandoning his children, and the zombie thing was punishment. And I wish we did that more here in the States. Honestly, I think men should be punished for abandoning their children. Maybe even a death penalty. I'm not completely against that. You look like you wanted to say something.
I've got my thoughts on telling people what they should do with their kids, and
I'm not telling them what they should do with their kids. I'm telling them they should raise their children.
Yeah.
I didn't say they had to raise them this way or that way. You just need to raise them. You need to man up. Be a fucking man.
Yeah, I have, yes. I'm on the same page with you when it comes to abandoning, like just walking out on your family. I think that's no good. I bristle a little bit because I don't know, a couple things, I guess. One, when I went through my divorce, it really just seemed to matter more that my ex-wife was a woman and I was a man, and that's how everything was going to lay out. As far as it's like they already had a template, regardless of like, who was financially stable or whatever, and that bothers me. And then the other thing that bothers me about like just rules on who's a parent and who's not is watching how states treat children when a good parent is trying to save them from having to spend half of their time with hanging out in drug houses with their addict other parent, and how hard it is for a parent that just wants to see their children in good environments from having to have their children exposed to that. I know two, like just straight up addicts that walk into the courthouse and can keep custody of their kids, and the state just doesn't seem to give a crap that parent like just. So I got issues with like the whole. I guess it's not apples to apples with abandoning your kids, like just walking out.
Yeah, I'm talking about men that knock women up and then bounce.
Yeah, I think that's crap.
That's literally just what I'm talking about. I'm talking about men that have 6 children with 6 different women and don't take care or help with any of them. Fuck those dudes. They should be killed by a firing squad.
I should have not opened my mouth at all because I'm 100% on the same page there.
There are absolutely shit mothers that use their children as leverage to get what they want from the father when they're divorced or whatever. And there are men that want to be part of their kids' lives who aren't allowed to be because of piece of shit garbage mothers.
Yeah, but no, what you're talking about, it's almost predatory, right? That they're in it, they're in it to bang, and then they're out.
Oh, you're pregnant? It's not my problem, bro.
I saw somebody posted it on Facebook. I saw a big sticker in the back of a truck window, and it had the letter I, and then the image of a screw, and then it had another I, and then like a wing nut, like a nut, and then it had another I, and then a bolt. So it was I screw, I nut, I bolt.
Which is fine as long as she's not pregnant.
Right.
But then you get the call, hey, I'm pregnant. You need another I, and then a picture, and then it just says return to raise the child because I'm a man and not a little fucking bitch that bounces.
The bumper
from
sticker becomes very noble all of a sudden.
Yeah. I return to fulfill my obligations as a man.
I agree with that. It's cowardice to do it any other way, I would say.
Now, Clairvius says that the instigator of his poisoning was his brother because him and his brother had quarreled over land and inheritance. He only returned home once he heard about his brother's death.
So
the end.
Yeah, but see, that's the part where it kind of gets weird for me. Is it's like the majority of the majority of the story is sort of like, oh, it's sort of out of my control. But then he rolls into town strategically when his brother's dead.
Hold on, I had a complete misunderstanding of this story. And I just realized this. I have been under the impression this whole time that for 16 years, he wasn't on this drug for 18 years.
No.
He was on the drug for 2 years.
Yeah.
Because the Bokor, I've been under the impression the entire time that this Bokor was the Bokor
keeping him drugged.
And the master were two different people. They were the same people. So he was drugged for 2 years and worked as a zombie on the sugar plantation. And then the Bokor and master, it was the same person, died. And then he stayed away from home for an additional 16 years because of his brother.
Yeah.
And then he got word that his brother died. He's like, I can go home now.
Yeah. Wait, I get a little torn because you're like, oh, he's a slave. And then he's like, what? My brother's dead? See ya. It's kind of weird.
The whole thing is weird, but it is the first verifiable example of somebody being a quote unquote zombie. And I need to make an apology right now to somebody. In 2012, I was in the woods.
Okay.
Probably around August of 2012. I was in the woods of Camp Lejeune. And we were eating MREs. I was sitting around with my squad. And there was another machine gunner there. A very black man. I mean, just like you, even in a bright sunlit day, all you could see was just eyes and teeth. Just, you ever seen that blackout paint that doesn't let any light in and it makes, you paint it on the wall and it just looks like a void? That's how black Cyrell was. His name was Cyrell. Haitian. Cyrell was there from Haitian. He talked like this. He was a machine gunner. I tell you about the 50 cal. The 50 cal machine gun. He called it a machine gun. Machine gun.
Machine.
I tell you about the machine gun. And Cyrell, we were all sitting around eating MREs. And Cyrell started talking about how the zombies are. We were talking about The Walking Dead, I believe. And Cyrell, who didn't talk that often, butted in and said, zombies are real. They exist in Haiti. And I, for probably an hour and a half, just roasted Cyrell and made fun of him and just was really mean and just roasted him for an hour and a half. And what I think Cyrell was talking about was probably this case from Haiti of Clairvius Narcissa.
Yeah.
But he just didn't have the English vocabulary to express, and he was getting very frustrated with me. And very.
What year was this?
This was 2012.
Yeah, so he definitely saw the movie Serpent and the Rainbow, which is based on this story. And if you've never seen it, it's so good. So good. I mean, there's elements of it where they had to make it for the movie, but so good.
I wonder if
speaking of movies, I'm going to be on the next episode of Pulp Culture Podcast, and we're bringing the heat of the Western desert. The topic is Western horror movies. And so each of us are personally watching and researching 2 movies apiece, but we're watching all the movies that we're covering. But
who's doing that?
I'm doing it with the Pulp Culture Podcast boys. And Aaron's assigned me 2 movies to watch, and wow.
What are they?
Wow. Yeah, I'll tell you. That way, if people want to watch it, they'll have a little bit of education or context when if they listen to the podcast. I was supposed to watch 2 spaghetti Western horror movies from the 70s. One's called The Blind Man, and so it's spaghetti Western, so that it's all the spaghetti Westernness of spaghetti Western, but it's also kind of supposed to be sort of this, over the top kind of shocker of sorts. And it does a pretty good job. Tons of boobs. Man. Yeah, if you're into boobs, check it out.
Down.
And the other one is called El Topo. And it's T-O-P-O, El Topo, E-L-T-O-P-O. And I'm not going to talk a lot about it because I'm going to talk about it on the episode, but it had me going, what the? More than Eraserhead.
The breakdown of this has me sold on it. This is all they say.
Right?
A mysterious black-clad gunfighter wanders a mystical Western landscape, encountering multiple bizarre characters. I'm in.
Yeah.
That's all I need. I'm in. Count me in.
All right, and just to put a cherry on the top of that, and I'm not really even giving much away here because this is just going to draw you into the movie even more. For the first maybe hour of the movie, attached to the hip, wherever this black-clad gunslinger goes, is a fully buck-naked 5-year-old boy.
Okay, so now we're getting into a weird space where is this movie legal?
I don't know. Just fully naked, just as he walks around, just his little nuts and berries are just out. He's just walking around. Oh, and then the black-clad guy will get on the horse, and little naked dude just hops up there with him. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. What? Never an explanation on what the naked kid's for. Never. So now you should be really interested in watching it. Oh, it's so weird. But watch it, and then you'll have some
that. I'm not going to search for that. Why'd you have me search for that? I don't want that on my computer.
Well, you don't have to search for the naked 5-year-old boy. You just search for the name.
When you search for El Topo, statistically, how many people watched El Topo for the story now that you know that? Like, if you did a breakdown of people that own a copy of El Topo, at least 80% of them are pedophiles.
Yeah, well, there's enough into this movie. Like, It covers a lot
By the way,
of
you
genres.
said for the first hour. How
Yeah.
long is this movie?
It's pretty long. Anyway, hopefully I've excited a lot of people because we've got 4 other movies, which are bangers, I will say. In this, I feel kind of like Aaron was probably like, let's have Sam watch the weird ones.
Yeah, I would do the same thing.
Yeah, right. So
I do want to apologize to Cyrell.
I'm sure he accepts it.
I'm sorry I did that to you. You were good with the machine guns. And you were right. Zombies exist, Cyrell, and I didn't know. I was just ignorant. I didn't know. What'd you bring?
Okay. I forgot that we were still like.
This has been Neverdaily, episode 139.
All right. I thought I'd talk about big giant things for a minute. So imagine back in a time when when if you heard of dragonfly fly by, it sounded more like hawk's wings.
Sounded like a CH-53 helicopter. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, just you weren't looking down to avoid like stepping on little bugs. You didn't really even need to look down. Like today, if you look down to avoid stepping on a millipede, that may be the case. During this era of the Earth's existence, you wouldn't need to worry about accidentally stepping on one because millipedes were as long as a car. So sounds like a fantasy novel, but this is the Carboniferous period of the Earth, and it's wild. This time of Earth's development and evolution and everything, crazy.
Can I take a guess at why things got so big?
Yeah.
Was there an excess of oxygen in the atmosphere?
Could very well be. Let's find out.
Okay.
Do. We're gonna do it on Breeding Rainbow. That sounds like a great podcast. It's just polygamists.
Or it's just a podcast about gay people fucking.
All right. So the
carbon in my ass.
I can fly twice as fast. The Carboniferous period.
It's in my nook.
We're getting J blows.
Big old dildo. Big old dildo.
I can do anyone. Try and stop me. Carboniferous period was from 359 to 299 million years ago. It always makes me wonder, like, really, 299 million years ago? Why didn't you just stop at 300? Like, is it really that exact? I don't know. Maybe it is. But it was a really unique era in Earth's existence. Vast swamps. The first ever rainforests that were on Earth were there on the Earth during this time. And like you said, the oxygen levels were higher than they are today, which many scientists believe played a role in the gigantism of insects and other things. Dinosaurs hadn't quite made their grand appearance during this period of the Earth, but insects sure did. They were the center stage. They were the main act. Really hard to wrap your head around how big insects got during this. And really peculiar conditions of Earth's environment during this time. So we still have questions today on why exactly all this came to be, but Titanic bugs seem to have been the rock stars based on kind of a fortunate set of ingredients. So this is kind of 3 out of every 4 animals on Earth are insects. And I don't know the exact statistic, but if you bundled up all of the insects by genus or species, the number of ants and the weight of the ants on the Earth would far outweigh every single insect on Earth. Crazy. I know you're boggled. Your mind is boggled. So their combined weight is a whopping 300 times that of all humans. So you picture this: insects with a wingspan of 70 centimeters. That's about the length of a guitar. Or giant millipedes stretching to 3 meters. That's the height of an NBA basketball hoop about. Not figments of our imagination. They roamed the planet 350 million years ago. So I don't know if you knew this, but all insects, they kind of belong to a group called arthropods. And that means that they have hard outer shells called an exoskeleton, and their bodies are divided into segments, and they come with jointed legs, and some of them have wings and some of them don't. It also factors in crustaceans, spiders, centipedes, that kind of stuff. Here's a fun fact for you. Crustaceans were the first things to venture out of the water. But for insects to differentiate from these water-loving creatures, they needed some upgrades, and the most significant of those were wings. So about 425 million years ago, a couple brave souls decided to leave the water behind, and their ancestors were they're the ancestors of our millipedes. Always kind of hanging out near the water, but they began exploring mossy areas over time, over millions of years, still getting the moisture that they needed, but also diversifying their food as far as their resources. They adapt, turn into land-based animals, insects, have that exoskeleton and a very unique way of breathing. So millipedes had back in the day had a system of respiratory tubes called tracheae, when you have multiples, I don't know. So they delivered oxygen directly to their organs and tissues. So it's just tubes connected right to their organs and tissues. So this is why they were so big back then, and they're not that big today, is because the size of insects is limited to their access to oxygen. If there is a higher concentration of oxygen, then the insects can be bigger because they don't have diaphragms like we do, which help, or like gills like a fish or something, where there's something forcing air in and out. It's basically kind of like just open access, like the entryways to a stadium. Hard shell, couple holes. That's how you get in. And so when the oxygen started to reduce in the Earth's atmosphere, the size of the bugs started getting smaller and smaller. So crazy. App is not focused across the board. Just kidding. Anyway, I thought that was kind of cool.
Yours is the only one that says app is not focused.
It's because I was reading my script. But I thought, we've heard about giant insects and everything, and I kind of had a feeling that it had something to do with the atmosphere, and definitely it does. And they look as creepy today as they looked back then. Basically, they just were bigger. That's it. I mean, a lot of these. So pretty cool, I thought. Anyway, If you liked this episode, check us out while we're hunting or while we are at CrimeCon. Try to find us while we're hunting. Good luck. Just look for the guy crying in the forest.
We'll
or
be the guys that
Orlando,
look like
Florida.
they don't fit in there. Well, I will. This is the one convention where you're going to fit in just like you were going to blend mesh right in. You stick out like a sore thumb at Horrorhound, but at CrimeCon, if you go in your IT attire, you're going to make some connections, and I'm going to be the op at this convention.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I'm still trying to figure out how that table's gonna pan out. What are we gonna do with our booth? So I'm looking forward to it, and I don't know exactly how I'm gonna dress. I might wear something shiny, it's kind of shimmery. Maybe we should do shimmery stuff. Anyway, we got like 400 more shows to record today, so we should probably stop this one.
Yeah, bye.
Hugs, everybody.